The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. Today, a very special short edition of the program. Jacob Turner, running for state senate in my home state of Missouri. He is up against what many candidates throughout the Republic are up against, a RINO, a Republican in name only. This one, Jamie Berger, a lifelong Democrat who, because he couldn't get elected as a Democrat, puts an R behind his name, and now he's seeking a vacant Senate seat in the state of Missouri. Have you heard that kind of story before? We have got to begin to root out these RINOs, and vetting them is the way to do it. We vet them. We make sure that they're true, identifiable, verifiable conservatives. So my conversation with Jacob Turner from District 27, running for state senate in Missouri. Here we go. Okay, Jacob Turner on the program. Ladies and gentlemen, Jacob, thanks for making time for me.
Thank you for having me, sir. I appreciate you having me on.
You're welcome. So just a brief introduction to the audience. Jacob Turner running for state senate in the state of Missouri, my home state, born and raised in Missouri in Jackson County. Shout out to the folks in Grandview. Again, thank you. Jacob, you're in District 27. Tell us about the district, where you're from, and your basic Reader's Digest version of your platform. Where do you stand? What's your goal?
Yes, sir. So I actually live in Cape County in Jackson, Missouri. The District 27 consists of Scott County, Cape County, Perry. We have Madison, Bollinger, Reynolds, and Iron County that make up the District of 27. You know, my platform is this. It's the America First brought down into the Missouri, the state level. And so the goal is law and order. Right now, we have a rise in violent crime of repeat offenders. Our state has sadly gone soft on crime. I believe the percentages are up to close to 90% on a reoffend rate in our district, where we have a D rating by the FBI for Cape Girardeau and for Sykeston. That crime is spilling out into our communities. I hear constituents, they call me all the time. There's shootings next to their house where they thought they would never have these incidences happening, and people at graduations are being shot. And what it is that the cops are doing their job. They're hammering the criminals. They're getting them locked up. And then the system is spitting them back out, claiming that they don't have the beds or they don't have the room in the prison system. So I'd like to make sure that we go after this. We start getting more stiff on crime, opening up facilities to get those beds available. And then we start to lower that high, excessive number of repeat offenders.
Well, I think you've hit on something that's important. And because the radical left will all of a sudden say, well, it's a gun problem. We've got to get a grip on these guns. And to your point, what we've got here is a failure from the radical left district attorneys throughout this country, district attorneys and attorneys general, who do not prosecute these criminals with extreme prejudice. And if in the off chance they are prosecuted, they're given very light sentences and let out early. That's the problem. We've got more than enough laws on the books if we would just use them. Don't you agree?
That's exactly right. You look at it, we just had a juvenile who attempted murder a few weeks ago. He was let out a few days later on attempted murder charges because they said that there's no room for him. So the system, that's why the police of Cape Girardeau Police Fraternity has endorsed me, Cape Girardeau Fire. That's why the first responders are getting behind me in this race, is because they know that I will work to fix this flaw in the system. Because look, I'm a small business guy as well. I'm someone who wants to see us flourish. I want to see opportunity come in for our kids. Nobody wants to bring a business to an area where they're concerned about their kids being in danger or being robbed. And so this is an important issue. If we want to see the growth in our area, we have to start cracking down on crime. And I think that as state senator, not only do I with my policy do I affect our district, but all of Missouri. And so I think a lot of people across Missouri are hungry for that law and order that you hear so many preach about.
I do.
They go soft the moment they're elected.
I agree. I think there's a few issues you've hit on. A couple of them right here: crime, law and order, prosecution of with extreme prejudice of violent criminals, of all criminals for that matter. And then we have this. We have election issues. We have Missouri. Everyone on paper, when we look at Missouri, they would assume that we've got the super majority of Republicans in there, but we have a RINO problem, not just in Missouri, but throughout this republic. And it has been a soapbox of mine for the last 4 years. We have got, as a conservative movement, we've got to become serious about vetting Anybody who wants to put an R behind their name and run for office, we've got to make sure that they have the America First, Missouri First values, the MAGA movement. Look, that's not a bad word. And I think if candidates begin to proclaim this and become and act and really are true conservatives, people will follow them, because I think you're right. We are hungry for true conservative leadership. And in Missouri, we have leadership. We have Caleb Rowden, we have Cindy O'Laughlin, both with an R behind their name, but who are not true conservative Republicans. And evidence of that is because they let somebody like Jamie Berger have a lifelong Democrat. Jamie Berger runs for office, can't get elected in a certain election, puts an R behind his name, and all of a sudden he's in and he's given positions of power and authority within the Missouri Republican Party. And as it turns out, Jacob, Jamie Berger is your opponent, a lifelong Democrat, now with an R behind his name, a RINO.
That's exactly right. You're talking about a man who's been a Democrat for 30, 40 years. He's held office as a Democrat. He held office as a Democrat under the Trump administration, which is very important to point out. If he didn't have the discernment to figure out that the Democrat Party had moved in the wrong direction before the Trump administration, that tells me a lot about where his mind's at. He didn't switch to the Republican Party until losing his race to a Republican. He made the switch after to run for state rep. He eked by in the election. He went into the House and he was given a position of leadership in the House as an assistant floor leader. And so you see how the uniparty that we speak about, the swamp, who's held our federal government captive, they're operating here in Missouri, in Jefferson City, in the same fashion. So, the record speaks for itself. The man supported Obama. The man supported Hillary against Trump. And then once elected, he has one of the lowest voting conservative records by CPAC's opinion, not my personal opinion. I'm not making the Jacob Turner judgment here. Looking at CPAC's rating of him, you're talking a man where they list on their website the strengths and the weaknesses of the legislators in our body. And they put his strength as an environment, his weaknesses as being bad for cutting taxes, bad on cutting regulations, bad on spending, the gambit of conservative issues. They identified that he's still aligned with the Democrat Party in the House. But now he's choosing to leave the House early to run for this open Senate seat for District 27. And he has managed to have the money from Jeff City Swamp funneled into his PACs so that they can bring in another RINO to the Senate to further keep what we in the grassroots and the everyday conservatives out in the community, what we're tired of seeing, this putting those people that don't represent our values and see where our state has so much potential in Missouri. And I believe that we can be a leader in states, but we have to have those with the backbone. And we got to get rid of those campaign conservatives to get this done. And this is a prime example. This race is going to be monumental for Missouri, I do believe.
Well, and I think that Missouri is going to be a template for success across the Republic as we look at this election cycle coming up. I know the vetting process. I know the people at the grassroots, at the committee, men and women who are running this vetting process. It's a good one, and I've been advocating this for months. We've got to begin to vet our candidates who want to put an R behind their name. And Jacob, I know that we could go on and on. I do want people to know where they can find you and support you. Where can we do that?
So JacobTurnerForMissouri.com is the website. And then also that's for the Facebook. We've kept it consistent. If they would like to email me, JacobTurnerForMissouri@gmail. Feel free to email me with any questions and I'll gladly get back to them.
And we'll have that up on the screen throughout this little chat. Jacob Turner, Missouri State Senate, District 27. We support you and we wish you luck, and we're at your service. If there's ever anything we can do, if you've got events, if you need help in any way, you just reach out and let us know. We'll be there for you.
Yes, sir. God bless you and God bless Missouri.
Amen. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be right back with some more thoughts right after this. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Laid out the problem for you. It's in Missouri, but it applies to you in your state as well, because trust me, within your state at the local level, you have men and women who are Democrats in philosophy, platform, and policy, who are putting an R behind their name and running for office. You've got to begin to vet them and weed them out. In Missouri, we have leadership like Caleb Rowden and Cindy O'Laughlin who have an R behind their name, but who are not true conservative Republicans. And while on paper, Missouri looks like it has a supermajority of Republican leaderships, they don't. And I'm sure that this resonates with many of you. Get involved in your local levels. Support your committee men and women who want to vet these candidates for the honor and the privilege of being able to put an R behind their name as they seek office. We have a RINO problem that we have got to begin to squelch out. And I think Jacob Turner is a man who's on task and on the job, and he will do so in the state of Missouri. God bless you, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it for the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.